First of all, thank you guys for having me, and I just have some remarks, some thoughts. So, I was 11 years old when I sat at the computer, the keys too large for my slim, clumsy fingers, and typed, "Am I gay?" into the search engine. I knew I had a crush on that girl that had been in my class since the 3rd grade, but some guys were saying that I talked funny and walked funny, so I decided to check. The search results didn't tell me anything, so I assumed they knew something I didn't. I was 15 years old on the soccer field when my teammates started talking about all the girls they had their eyes set on. They spilled the names of those they'd already felt up. They talked about how they're going to smash, rail, and bang countless others. They noticed my uncomfortable silence and called me out on it, so I joined in. I was 19 years old when I read about Madison, Wisconsin's first homicide of 2016. A man shot a woman who turned his romantic advances down. A lifetime of unchallenged masculinity, nearly identical to mine, propelled the bullets that cut into the flesh of her stomach and then her head. It allowed the killer to say that it was easy to kill. The first murder victim of 2016 in Greensburg, Indiana, was shot in the back of the head after she refused a marriage proposal from her boyfriend. Both women are now among the 1 out of 3 women who are victims of physical violence at the hands of an intimate partner. At the center of the violence is a blood trail of unbridled masculinity. When we fail to question those fathers who say that boys will be boys and that if a boy is mean to you, it's because he likes you, we set up young, moldable boys to expect that violence is okay because it's simply part of their incoming manhood. When we police the ways that boys fit or don't fit into traditional expectations of what a man looks like, sounds like, or dresses like, we give violence the space to breathe. We create a trail that begs to be followed. Expectations for masculinity, the chiseled abs in advertisements, or the stoic, unemotional father figure in most TV shows subject anyone who does not fall into these archetypes to violence. And it's not always obvious, because violence takes many forms. Violence is murder, but violence is also self-hatred and suicide. It's poverty and the gnawing of stomach flesh when you have nothing to eat and nowhere to sleep. Masculinity is in part why gay men have higher rates of suicide and why rates of homelessness are so high amongst trans people. Bones break and flesh tears at the hands of masculinity. Systemic issues of violence and sexism will not be solved overnight, but if we each accept our personal responsibility in curbing masculinity, we can make slow progress. When we hear things in the locker room, we ought to speak out against them. We must get comfortable with physical affection between men. And instead of wasting our energy telling men how to be men, as if there was a single mold for all men to fit, we must call out every instance where preserving masculinity requires violence. We have to face the reality that masculinity kills. It tucks people into their grave, sometimes quietly, but usually violently. We carry the bloodstains on our hands until we decide to break masculinity down, starting with ourselves. Thank you.